Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another Road Most Taken video here at twitch.tv/Samius. We're going to do the pit, and the reason we're going to redo the pit is while over here on my YouTube channel, we do have a pit video. I remember thinking that this was kind of not my best playthrough, so I want to take the time and record a better one for you guys. Hopefully one without some of the, sorry, I got an itch on my ankle, without some of the difficulties and problems that we occurred in that particular run. I'll keep both, but I will obviously make this one, you know, like run 2 or whatever. Also, having a melee, we're currently rocking that Faye Buckler build that I've been working on for a little while. Doing the pit on a melee is a little bit different than doing it on like a ranged character. And while a ranged character does a great job of kind of showing things off in general, sometimes it's getting that melee experience is much different. I went ahead and I grabbed a Paladin Hireling. I happen to have her from last quest, so we went ahead and pulled her out. It's always nice to have like a little bit of an emergency situation, and lay on hands are always fine. All right, so one of the things that I'm going to reference quite a bit is that I have a path, right? I have a path through this thing, and it's a lot of like knowing where the quest is, or where the door is that you're trying to do, and knowing whether or not you need to go up or down the tunnels. The other thing that really is advantageous here is an understanding of this map. So I'm going to talk about it here at the very beginning for just a second. So first of all, you'll notice these two big circles that match up here together, right? And they kind of look like an interpretation of spirals, which is trying to show you the idea that, you know, there's two big pillars here being chased with spirals. Okay, that's what that means. And if you kind of get an idea of, okay, well, this one's like the north one and this one's like the south one, you can kind of start getting an idea of where things come off of. Okay. Another thing to keep in mind is that we know there are 3 furnace rooms, and they share a little fire symbol, and it looks like a bridge, like a 3-way bridge. So boom, boom, boom. Right. So that's good. We know that there's an electric room where there's lots of little pillars and electricity shoots out. And then we also happen to know from doing the quest repeatedly that there's a little secret door right here where a bad guy in a chest sits. So that's what that room is. Up here, this looks like a flux capacitor-like thing to me, which I always kind of refer to as the Energon Cube room. But if you notice, it walks down and over, which means it's closest to this north pillar over here. So this is the Energon Cube room. This room right here, I forget what the name of this particular room is. The bilge control room. There used to be a whole bunch of like spikes and stuff in here, and the icon just never changed anything else. But this is basically run through, pull a lever, run back out, shrine if you need to type area. And then I think we haven't talked about this symbol. We haven't talked about this symbol. But this symbol is to represent these little traps on the pillars, and this is the room that turns those on and off. And then we have this room way up here, which is the puzzle that we're going to start with. This is the very first room. So now you kind of have like a rough idea of how the quest is laid out. What different parts go in here, and we'll talk about each part as we run through. But if someone's like, hey, yeah, you jump into the quest, and they're like, yeah, we're down in the, if in my experience, I would say the Energon Cube room. You can at least look at the map and be like, okay, well, this is the Energon Cube room. All right, yeah, so I want to be towards the north side. So then you at least have an idea of where to go from there. But anyway, let's start running through this quest as if we were actually ready to get started. So this is where we spawn in. We're gonna come up here to this first pillar, and we're gonna go up. In my practice, going up or down these pillars is basically the only thing that matters. All right, so we can't go here. We don't want to go across because that's also a thing. So we're gonna jump down to the next ladder. We're gonna keep running up. We're gonna run past this room. If the rooms are red and have a blue force field, you obviously can't go through them. However, if they are yellow, it means we can go in there. And if they're green, that means they're done. Okay, turning this valve off. Now, right now, we are above where we logged in at. A lot of people like to refer to that as the top. I don't know. To me, it's all the same. And see, now we have this the yellow room. So this is a little puzzle. It's not a hard puzzle. What we're going to do is we're going to light each of the four corners, and then we're going to pull the middle. We got a couple of oozes that spawn in here. We want to keep an eye out for reapers. And also we're going to get, in addition to some oozes spawning, when we get close to these sewers, we're gonna, there they go, we're gonna get trogs jumping out, particularly the caster trogs. Those are the problematic ones. Scorching rays can be bad. Can be bad. Alright, so that light's already on. This lever's on. And then I'm going to smash these boxes. Then we're going to take a look at the solution. Had you not know what's going on. So, basically, by turning these on, or flipping these levers, you're going to see these lights light up, and they kind of help you get a visual representation of the puzzle. By hitting the one here in the middle, we're going to turn all of those on. It's pretty simple. Do the corners, then the middle. Alright, so now we have a couple of choices. We know we're going to the furnaces now, right? Light the first furnace. So if we look at our map, that means we want to go from here whoop, to here. So we have a couple of different paths. I'm going to run. However, I will tell you that a lot of people like to put on their featherfall item right there and jump, which is also fun. Okay, so now we're on the right pillar, right? So now we just need to go, okay, well, there's nothing above us, so it must be below us. So we're gonna whoop, go in. Wasn't that room? Whoop. There's nothing here. I'm gonna make sure that I get it pretty much where we want to go here. Whoop. Aha! See? Now we've kind of jumped down, and we can see the light go green there. We have, or yellow, and we have two red rooms. So again, you could featherfall down. If you were to featherfall down, you would basically go from up there to here. I'm not a big person, I'm not a big fan of featherfalling around through the pit, and the reason why is because those traps can get you. You don't always think about them, but they're definitely there, and they can definitely reach out and tag you if you're not careful. Alright, this room we're going to make sure that we're ready to go for action, because got a couple of troglodytes. Looks like we found a reaper spawn as well. What kind of reaper do we got in here? Carnage reaper. Oh, wrecked. Alright. Now we go up. You have a couple of different choices for any place that you're running through of these furnace rooms. So the furnace room contains several subparts. One, there's almost always some sort of Mario skill set run through. Okay. Two, you're going to have all these little traps and wind gusts and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and put my featherfall item on just to make life a little easier. They're not really necessary, in my opinion. There'll be lives where I'll do this without a featherfall item, but it certainly makes it a little bit smoother and a lot less prone to random errors. See, also in each of these furnace rooms, there's also a lever that you can pull. And when you pull all 3 levers, it opens up to an optional at the very, very bottom of the quest. And that optional is where you can get your sweet muck doom. Alright. I got a fly that's just like in love with my hand today. Let's see. The other big thing that's going on here, in addition to all these Mario skill situations, is that you're going to have fire elementals trying to get you. Now, the problem with the fire elementals is that they'll continuously respawn. So, you kind of have to either deal with the fact or not. So, if your jump is really good, you can jump from here onto here, because the lever that we're looking for is right here on this pillar. If not, you can just keep going. Let's keep going around. There'll be an extra mob or two, and of course the fire element will have a longer opportunity to fireball you. So do what I just did there. Give it a little bit of a pause so it'll start to throw the first fireball back here somewhere, and then you can rush in and try to get the lever. All right, so we talked about some of the dangers of each of the rooms, right? We talked about the spellcasters along the way. We talked about the fireballer. We talked about how we want to get a lever to basically lock up these fire elementals and move on to the next portion of the thing. We talked about the levers at the bottom that open up to the Jubilix. There's one more part, and that part is every single furnace room has some sort of optional chest included. And again, you have to Mario skill your way around, and that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. And in this first room is actually a little bit of a trap. I don't know if I brought a fireball wand. I don't think so. Did not. So it's hard to tell, but right here there's one of these little ledges, just like this one, right in this shadow. Again, I hope that you guys can kind of tell if I trace the outline here. And then there's a bridge right here. Okay. Now, what a lot of people will try to do is they'll try to jump to this little ledge and then jump onto that bridge. But I've always found that personally to be a trap. What you want to just do is you just want to jump to this bridge. Okay? 9 times out of 10, especially if you're going forward and you don't have like a big jump spell or anything, you're going to catch this ledge. If you do have a big jump spell going, then you can just jump directly to this bridge. And it's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Now, you also might notice that I'm using my mouse look mode a lot by holding down my left mouse left click button. And the reason why is because wherever you have that reticule is where you're going to go. So what I want to just do is I just want to look at this ladder and walk forward to that ladder. Not have to fight it, not try to like jump onto it, not do anything crazy. Because if you do that, there's the opportunity that you're going to mess up and have a problem is real. Then we're going to just clean up this room of all its breakables. We'll talk about breakables in just a moment, and why we kind of fiddle with it. But, just kind of pick up your breakables along the way. Then I like to pull this lever. Depending on whether this guy's a champ or not, I'll either clean it up or ignore it. And then we're good to go. So, the reason we pulled that lever is it opens this door underneath. Nope. All the way down, please. And slightly over this direction. So if you look on your map, you'll notice that there's a pair of shrines off in the nowhere land. Well, this is why, because it's in here. And this is the chest that you get for running all the way to the top, dealing with that nonsense. It's in the shrine room. It also gives you advantage of an extra breakable. Then, before you leave this room, somebody needs to go down the bottom and start smashing eggs. So you notice there's an optional break 25 eggs, but you'll also notice that the eggs count as breakables. So you're kind of getting a little bit of a double dip on your breakable bonus here. One, you're getting a little bit out of the eggs, and two, as you break the eggs, you're hitting your breakable smashy button. So that's the reason why I recommend that you make sure that you do your breakables in this quest. Which are really good. And then, of course, back there, we hit that blue lever. That blue lever is one of the 3 levers that goes and opens up the optional down below. Alright, so now we're going to arm the pit security traps. So again, if you kind of think about, the idea, apparently I can't hit the M button today. If you think about the idea that you're arming the security traps, and again, remember we talked about how this is the representation of the traps and like being on. This is the room we want to go to. Now, if you have a D-door or something like that, you could D-door up to the top and get there really quickly. But we're not. We don't have that option. So we're going to basically take the ramp. So this ramp only has 2 options, down and up. And from my personal experience, everything that you want in this quest is either up or down of this ramp. Don't leave the other pillar or go to the other pillar. Don't do any crossovers. Don't do anything crazy. Just go up or down this ramp. So in this case, we're going to go up because we happen to know that down from here is the Energon Cube. Up, we're going to go past the bilge control room. We're going to go up this little crossover area, which is, again, essentially a trap. We don't want to leave this trail if we can help it. We're going to keep going up. We're going to go past the lightning room, which is called what again? The main breaker room. Kind of makes sense. Breakers, circuits, electricity. Then we're going to go back up here to this switch. And then if we were to keep going around, we'd find a dead end. So up here is kind of like my mental breakaway to say, okay, now we can cross over. In this case, we can fall down. We can take a look around because up top was just that lever or that puzzle, the lever puzzle. So we go down here. Again, had we D-doored, right? Had we D-doored, we could have just walked. Let's see if I can find the tunnel really quickly. Right there. There's the tunnel. I'm gonna actually set my hireling to walk a little bit closer this direction, and maybe she'll walk to us so we can see her walking. There we go. So there we go. She just came out from the beginning of the quest there. And actually I'm going to move her here because I don't want her to start getting zapped by the traps. Alright, again, we're going to make sure that we have plenty of blur and displacement running. This is also a good quest to have electric protection potions if you don't have the ability to cast protection. Also, it's not unwise to have acid protection pots in here. I don't have either of those things on me, but I'm going to trust that my old ship buffs are going to last a little while. Alright, so we're going to have a series of colored rune wheels in this quest. And if you look around, you'll see these little plates in different locations that kind of show off the different answers to the different color wheels. It's spread around this quest. I generally don't have to look them up anymore. That being said, sometimes I do. Sometimes my brain is not on, and we'll have to take a minute and kind of look things up. But for the most part, we can kind of remember or deduce or figure them out or whatever based off of the handful of clues that we know. So, for example, we automatically know that red is going to be what I like to call gun. Okay, and we know that blue likes to be what I like to call this little hat. So we're gonna spin blue around to hat. I know other people call it different things, but you're listening to my stream / video, so you get to listen to me call it hat for a minute. All right, let's take care of this Famine Reaper here. Well, good, we didn't get our weapon switched. That's the best. When your weapon doesn't change. Oh yeah. Then you're fighting things with your Muck Doom that Muck Doom doesn't kill very well. Alright. From, again, experience, we know that green is like Pac-Man Ghost or Elephant. A lot of people call that different things there. And then orange and yellow are very close together, and for a lot of reasons, for a lot of people, they end up getting kind of mixed up or flip-flopped or whatever. However, orange will default to what I call I. It's the little vertical stick with two horizontal crosses. Which means that by the process of elimination, right? So we already did Candy Cane. We already know gun is going to be red. We already know hat. We already did Pac-Man Ghost, which means it's going to be one of these two. And they're never already on the correct solution. So we know that orange is going to be H. Then I do this a lot differently than I think a lot of people do. A lot of people will fall to the bottom and work their way up. I would rather take care of everything up high and then come down. So we saw red. So we know that one is correct here. And the reason why I can get away with it is because I can use my hireling to pull that lever when I get the little force field down here. Oh, so again, by the process of elimination, we just have our hireling pull that lever, and then we start clearing the bottom down here. So we're going to have a bunch of breakables, and we're also going to have some monsters down here to slay. Some casters, some oozes potentially. We got a collectible to pick up. And then this room also holds an extra little treat, because you'll notice there's a hole right here with a little ladder filled with water. Down in this area is going to be another treasure chest for us to pick up. So the pit, actually, because it is so long, it has quite a few treasure chests and whatnot hidden in it. There's our purple clue. Boop. Get our treasure out of here. Alright, so now if we're looking at our quest objective, now we're going back to the furnace. You'll notice there's a lot of back and forth. Where if you actually have a couple of people, say there's two of you and you both feel relatively comfortable doing a section, and say somebody goes to the first room, somebody goes to the furnaces. And then by the time the first room is done, guy is ready to start working on the furnaces. And then that would give time for the first person to get here, and then vice versa. Alright, so again, we're going back to the furnaces. But now, since we've activated these security traps, we've got to deal with these traps going off here. So as we come around, we should be able to look down and see the furnace room. So I'm going to just go ahead and throw on my feather fall. Since we know what we're looking for now, put on my feather fall and head into the second one. So you notice again, the lights green is done, yellow is ready for getting to work. Alright, so once again we're going to go up. Up. There's only really one path through in this one. In some of the other ones there are multiple paths, but this one doesn't really work out that way. Alright, so you have this air jet that blows you across here. I have not found out the ability to run through this yet. However, what I find to be the easiest is to just walk on this pipe and jump and feather fall over here. And then this valve turns off that air jet and I think some of the acid traps. but it spawns some extra trash around here, so you get like a little bit of an ambush. I'd rather just move through the traps without having to worry about the extra ambush. It takes like an extra like whole half a second sometimes to time your traps if you're worried about a little bit of acid damage here. And then we got a couple of fire elementals starting to shoot at us. They'll stop when we kind of get out of their visual range here. Then we'll pick up another one. That one's a champ, so be careful there. Alright, so same thing. We see the lever, not the valve, but the lever. And that's what we want to turn on to solve the room, to start the second furnace. And you could jump up there from here if you have a good jump and some feather fall. Man, I feel like the blur and stuff is just not lasting today. And then we're going to go ahead and show off the optional chest here. Right, you're going to notice very similar kind of pattern here. There's your another little dark jump way out of nowhere, and then our bridge that's lit up. We're just going to jump again to that bridge, jump again here, and then we're going to notice two ladders. Now, when we climb up these ladders, there's going to be an ambush up there with like 3 casters and a melee guy. So the secret is, if you start to get in trouble, you can jump down, heal up, and come back up. I usually don't recommend it because they will be active and they'll know you're there, and they'll do things like cast Sleet Storm and whatnot, and ice storms, and be ready for you. But you can if you need to. Just be careful. Now this doesn't do as much good as it in other areas, but you also have this nice little ledge that runs around. So you could also, like if you're ranged, you could come back here and just try to run side to side. You have to deal with the fact that they are going to be casting Scorching Rays at you and stuff, but that is an option at your disposal. Alright, so now we've got our bonus treasure chest, right? We are right above the doorway. So we could just leave, right? No, we still have one more blue lever to find, a special lever for the optional. This one happens to be in the middle of this, or sorry, it's a valve. But I always call it the blue lever, or the blue valve, because it turns on a little blue crystal. Alright, now we get to leave. Because, you know, we're all done. Everything's completed. Now we're going to reset the power breakers, and that is in the lightning room, the lightning tower room. So, upsy daisy. Again, everything is up or down this one path. The only time you want to leave this path is when you either are going into the room that you're looking for, or you have to jump down to get to the room that you can clearly see. Otherwise, everything is basically up and down this path after the first room. So we're just gonna stay on this path, running along. Looky there, as promised, we found our yellow room. Alright, so let's talk about this room for a second. If we look back here, first of all, there's oozes spawning all over the place. But we have this lever and a force field. Okay? So this force field will go down when you get 2 of these correct levers. Meanwhile, you're dealing with all these oozes. The pillar likes to shoot off electricity. Apparently we got a Plague Reaper out of nowhere. Let's deal with this as well. Get out of here. So we have... It's a dangerous room. It's a dangerous room. A lot of people won't come in here unless they have evasion. They won't come in here unless they have... again, electric pots, as resistance pots, protection pots. As you can tell, we have a 41 electric resistance, and we're still taking like 20 to 30 points of damage a tick here. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. But there's no rhyme or reason to these levers in my practice. And again, if you're in Reaper mode, every time one of these oozes spawns or dies, you have an opportunity for a Reaper to spawn. So just kind of, in my experience, run through, hit as many of these levers as you can. Listen for the clicks. In general, there's going to be 4 levers per column. This is like the worst part of this quest. There is a trick to moving through a little bit quicker, but it borderlines. It's borderland a no-no. So, for those of you who have watched my training videos before, or my stream or whatnot, I try not to show anything that could get you in trouble potentially. Any tips or tricks or anything that people might consider dirty, we try not to show, even though I will let you guys know that there's the opportunity out there for a couple of dirty tricks that SSG may or may not want you to know about. But I don't want anyone getting their account in trouble because I showed them a trick. Also, we got close to this secret door, which means we're going to get attacked by the monsters on the other side of it. There's always an ooze in here. This Skyborn champion, however, is not always here. Is that correct? I feel like that's wrong. I feel like that guy's always there. Let's just pretend he's always there. I'm fairly certain he is, actually. What is not always there is whether or not that chest is trapped. Man, look at us just standing here getting zapped. Still haven't even heard the first click yet. Obviously, the more people you have doing this, the quicker it can go. I've just found that working one pillar at a time makes things the easiest. And every once in a while, I'll just check and make sure that the force field's still there. There we go. We finally found it. Just in case you missed the DM text. Alright. So this is our champ chest. So we're going to loot it first. Oh, sorry, Fuzzy Boots. Just kind of catching up with the chat here. We are streaming this live as part of our normal stream time as well. The dev that envisioned this quest always dreamed of being a medieval fantasy repair person. Some of us want to slay dragons, some of us want to save princesses, but this dev right here wanted to be the sewer treatment facility repair person. Dream big. Yeah. So you always want to stand to the side when opening this chest because there can be a trap right here that shoots through. If you stand to the side, not only will it generally not hit you, but you also have the ability to walk back out. And you can search and disable the trap, but I think the trap box is on this back wall, but I'm not 100%. And I guess we'll take a second and search this door out because I want to make sure I get that bonus, I guess. Alright, so now we're going to the main control room. This is what I like to call the Energon Cube room. So we could fall down because we know where it's at, right? It's around this pillar, around this column. But we can also just walk down. Again, walking down the same big long ramp that we've been doing this whole time. Oh, don't walk off the edge. I'm going to down the bilge control, past the furnaces, and all the way at the very bottom of the ramp is going to be where we want to go. There's also a little shrine right there, kind of give you some reminders, some visual clues, some landmarks, as it were. Should have some spawns right here. You, leave me alone. What? Oh, did I have the wrong... Thought I smashed the low blow. I must have tried to hit something else by mistake. Picked up some stinky. Oh, that's a dangerous trog. Oh, he died. Never mind. Keep an eye out for those champ trogs for sure. Alright, so this room, we're going to have a couple... Good morning, V-Love. We're going to have a couple of dangerous things go on here. One, you're going to notice that mobs will continuously spawn out of these pipes, including oozes. And what makes the oozes kind of complicated in this particular portion is that we need to solve these puzzles. And the oozes like to... When they die, they kind of block the ability to work the puzzles. So I like to try my hardest to kill them not on puzzles if at all possible. This one I think we're going to go like this. And then I like to solve the puzzles down. Or wait, I guess technically it'd be up, right? I like to solve it from the bottom this way, that way. Just makes life, in my opinion, a little bit less difficult. Keep an eye out for those casters again. When the first guy respawns, they're basically all going to respawn, so just be ready. There's an ooze. You can try to keep everything off of the puzzles. Wrong weapon type. Okay, that must have been what I did before. I reached out and hit the 1 button instead of the 4 button somehow. Okay. There's a handful of puzzles for this. I believe they're basically all... I don't remember if they're like literally all in the same spot or if they can rotate. I feel like they can rotate, but I don't honestly know. There we go. Energon Cube is lit. Now we're out of here. So, unlike a lot of these quests, because this has got like a long, dangerous, scary looking tunnel, we will get re-ambushes on the way out. It's generally not too big of a deal. Couple of melees and then like a caster or two at the very end. So just be expected of, or be prepared to get ambushed here on the way out. And not a big deal at all. Alright, we know where the bilge control pumps are. We ran past it on the way here. It'll be the furnaces, and then it'll be the bilge control pumps. So we have a plan. We know where we're going. Right up at this tunnel. Remember, every time I've said this, and I'm going to keep saying it, if you get nothing else from this watch through or this run through this video or the live stream, up and down this one tunnel is basically everything you need. Just start slashing and hacking our way through things here. Questions not related to this exact quest at the moment. We'll wait till after that we're done recording this video. Okay, kind of get things cleaned up. We'll grab this lever. So again, apparently this used to be like a big, long, complicated thing, but they decided it was too much and they took it out, is my understanding. I don't know. I think I've always been here when the pit's around, so I don't know. This is a good spot also to grab a shrine that's a little bit more difficult to come back to. We will run back by this shrine again on the way to the end fight, but I think we'll be okay. B-Love says they should take out the pit and spies from DDO. Disagree. More options, more better. Less options, less better. Always want to have the option to do something, even if it's something that's not something that you particularly love or enjoy. You don't want to take away the option from somebody else. Alright, so lighting the third furnace. So, I mentioned before we started the video, for those of you watching the live stream, that I wanted to make sure to stop and pick up these potions of jumping from my guild chest, which is where I keep them. And because we're already level 9, you possibly have already done White Plume Mountain. And if you do White Plume Mountain, you'll notice that you'll be able to pick up 1 or 2 of these potions of jumping that are plus 30 out of there. And they don't disappear when you leave the quest. So as you're doing, every time I do the White Plume Mountain, I pick up these potions, and they get used here and there kind of sporadically along the way, but I like them specifically for this area, specifically for this level range. Had a phone call, apologies about that. Just to kind of make sure that I'm going to make some of these jumps up here. So I'm going to go ahead and drink one. And we have some levers. There's a bunch of valves throughout this on the ground floor that'll shoot you up into the air. I forgot to put on my feather fall. That would have been pretty sweet. So by getting up here to this first little notch, this is like your default notch. If you have a good enough jump, you can just jump straight here. And from here you can run over, jump onto this. Come on this side, clean up this trash. Make sure this guy doesn't spawn. Okay. And then you can use, like, I think it's this valve to shoot this air jet that takes you up here. Like, there's a lot of ways you can go in this one, but I'm going to show you the path that I typically take because of the danger. All right, so we landed up here. We jumped up on this pipe. We run through this way. We killed that guy. We come over here to this pipe and to this pipe. And now we're going to run up. Oh, we're going to not mouse look lag over there. And we're going to jump over to here. Make sure our feather falls on. Whee! And we're going to catch this air jet. Pew. Now, what's a little bit difficult to tell is that there are 2 chests in here. When these 2 chests spawn, or one of them are open, you're going to get a red named and like 2 casters, I think, spawn. So you might have 3, you might have 4 guys here. So when you open this chest, be ready to move on. Because the second that's open, they're going to jump in and they're going to start attacking. Yeah. 2 casters and a red name here. And you just, again, like I said, in my opinion, you just immediately close the chest again and start slamming down the old killer rootskis there. Alright, so now that you're up here, you don't have to open these chests if you don't want to, by the way. You do have the willpower to ignore chests. So from up here, what we want to do is we're going to land on this pipe that goes sideways. And I like to land on this little puff of smoke. Or try to grab that section of the pipe. I find it to be the easiest part to grab. Boink. And we're going to run around. And dodge all these fireballs. We're going to pull this lever. There we go. Again, like always, if you have some jump, you can jump from here to here. I've been saying that at every one. And the reason why that's important is because, again, the less time you have for these two fire elementals to throw fireballs at you, the easier it is to kind of get things going. There's some alternate pathing if you have some helpers that you can use. So, for example, let's say that I have another helper down here, and I don't have the jump. So I land up here, and we're going to run around this direction. Okay. Trash is going to spawn along the way. Here's one. I think another one will spawn back here in a little bit and then chase us. But you'll find another air jet over here. And this air jet is controlled by that valve. And what that valve will do is it'll shoot you up here basically, or even higher to that valve. And you can either maneuver around to where we were, because again, remember right here where our reticle's looking at is where we want to go. So you could go to there, you can go to here and run around. And then this air jet is controlled by that valve. So a lot of people will take this air jet. I don't think I can make this without that air jet getting pulled. Yeah. And they'll jump up here, and they'll basically take the same path that I took to this pipe, to over to there, and then up. So, like, there's a lot of pathing in this one. But I really do think the easiest thing to do is to do what I showed. Alright, and here's our third blue valve. We just want to make a quick walk around here and make sure that we don't miss anything important. Like that collectible. And monsters will chase you through the quest. So if you're worried about like this infernal pack, you might want to just clean it up now. I tend to clean up champs, along the way, try to get those fragments. Alright, now we're going to restart the intake system. So if we've been paying attention, there's only one room, well, there's two rooms left. But one that we can see on the map. Oh, there we go. Almost ran past these breakables. And that's the one all the way at the very top across that bridge. We've seen it a couple of times now. So we know where we need to go, is at the very top. Again, this is another really good spot to D-door. If you have access to D-door, that'll take you to the... Basically, it shortcuts you to the top. Skip some running. But because we're, on our melee life and we're demonstrating how to do this when you're not a caster, we're going to go ahead and run through. And as the same rule that we have continuously been harping this entire video, we're going to go up or down, in this case up the same ramp. We're not going to leave it till we get to where we want to go, or until we hit that spot where the oil jets come out of, or the acid jet comes out of. That's our top. If we needed a shrine, we could have saved that build's control shrine and shrined here at the end, or we could walk down the ramp to the other shrine, the spare shrine. Keep going. All right, now we're at the top. Remember where the acid jets are at. We're to come over, jump down a set, across that bridge. Now, before we go in here, there's a couple of things we want to keep in mind. One, we want to make sure we do not have our featherfall active. And the reason why we don't want to have our featherfall active is if something happens and we die, right, and we are thinking about things in advance, and we die up here on this top ledge, there is a possibility that we could jump in such a way that we can actually land on this shrine, right? We can get to this shrine as long as we don't have featherfall. If we have featherfall on, we can't get to this shrine. There's no self-recovery except for our Gibber's Blade or Grizz Cake, whatever. So making sure that we don't have our feather fall on is important for that purpose. And now, understanding how this fight works is also kind of important. So, there are 3 valves. And those 3 valves is basically what completes the quest for us. So there's a valve on the right side and the left side between these spawn points. And then we have a valve in the back. Okay? So, I'm going to jump up here and kill these guys. So what a lot of people will like to do, and myself often included, is... I'll just show you in a minute. I'll just show you. I'm just going to go ahead and clear these up here. Let's talk about this up here. A lot of people will range these guys from... we got to jump down. We'll range those guys from the top up here, which I think is relatively safe. You'll have to deal with the occasional monstrosity or whatever. But again, we're on a melee, so... and then what I like to do is I like to go ahead and activate those spawn locations and pull them up here. And again, the reason for that is just one of... It delays the casters from coming and getting you because they're busy casting their buffs and stuff, as well as separates the mobs out based off of their movement speed, which can be pretty great. Pretty great. The other thing that I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and use the lay on hands here, I think, to heal. And this is a thing that I don't think nearly as many people do. But you can actually use your hireling to pull those levers. And the nice thing about that is having the hireling pull the levers is you can snap them back right away. But as you see, the levers get pulled and the mobs will spawn. So then you can pull them back. I must have already... No, there they are. I must have already got some of them. And if you have a situation where you have a nice party, you can use this staircase as like a natural choke point. So you can like web up here, or you can cast a firewall and have the melees kind of shield block for the back row, etc., etc. It works out, I think, in my opinion, pretty nicely. So then we pull both of these levers, and when you'll notice that when these levers are pulled, these lights will light up. So before we go pull that last lever and complete the quest, we want to make sure that we have our breakables achieved here. There we go. We're good to go. Alright, so this is where you put on your Voice of the Master. You make sure your XP potion's running, the whole 10 yards. Make sure that's all as ready as you want it to be. Because when someone steps on that platform, and you'll be able to see it right here, these guys spawn. Okay? And you, in my practice, having a little bit of a decoy right there to separate these casters and these melees works out real nice when you're solo. Just kind of distract. I don't care if my hireling dies now. It's not a big deal. I'd rather have the safety and security for yours truly here. The other thing you can do, because you know that they're going to spawn in these pipes, you can set up some crowd control there. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and heal the hireling, mostly because I'm not sure how much... I guess I have my Muck's Doom, so we'll be able to do some damage. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the area where the furnaces is, and we can run over there. We know the path. But in this situation, we also know where the shortcut is. We're just going to run directly there. And there's the furnaces. So, the reason why this is important, why does the furnaces matter? Well, we're going to take this pipe area right here, and we're going to basically slide down that pipe, pushing forward, pushing, what is it, east? Yeah, we're going to go east. So we're going to jump in here, we're going to get right against that corner, and we're going to push east. And what that's going to do is it's going to take us directly into the optional. It also gives us the advantage, if you don't have Featherfall, see, to have a wall to slide against. Which is also really nice. It helps reduce your damage. And you might get like one gray ooze down here to follow you across. But what we'll do is we'll show you when we're done here how much trash can actually spawn if you come down to some of the other locations down here. So it minimizes your spawn, reduces your damage, puts you exactly where you want to go with a convenient landmark from above, right? The furnace room. You've been there 3 times. You know where the furnace room is. And it just makes your life a lot easier, in my opinion. And we got nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sing it again now. Alright. So, let's go ahead and drink a poison pot, get rid of that. So if you notice here, oh wow, they're just not gonna spawn for us right now. Again, each of these tunnels can spawn oozes. I've actually had so many oozes spawn down here before that I felt like the second I landed, I was ooze surfing. But right this minute, I've only seen what should be 3 oozes spawn at a time here. But still, can be problematic. Which is why I like to go right where you want to go. Alright, and then we have the world's longest ladder. I don't think we can recall on ladders, can we? Doesn't look like it. So you can take forever to go up this ladder. Or you can just recall from down below after you clear the trash. Or, I think this is probably high enough, right? I'm going to recall out right here. You could also teleport using your D12. Not quite long enough, I guess. Close though. Anyway, that's the pit. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you learned something, please like, subscribe, follow the channel. I appreciate it. Thumbs up the video, etc., etc. And we'll see you guys soon. Toodles.